Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiakos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I gonna sign or no for Olympiakos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα ρε μαλάκα!
Σ' αγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's happening, red and white fans? We have ourselves a fiery post-match show today. Some controversy in the game that we all just watched. A crazy game, all things considered. A lot of stuff to unpack here. But before we do, obviously, I'm joined by Lambro and Costa. Boys, how you feeling? Go ahead, Lambro. Start. How do you feel?
No, it's odd because we're going to get into all of it, but the biggest feeling I have after the game was I feel like we're going to win the title this year. That was my main feeling I took away from the game. I just feel like we're putting everything together and we're starting to play really good football, and we should have won tonight. And we'll get into the situation of everything that's happened tonight, but Olympiakos is starting to look like Olympiakos again. And if you look at the larger macro trends, the team is starting to play good. And there were moments in that game where you're watching the team play and you're like, this is a team with the pieces it had playing like this that could have done something amazing from the start of the season. I think Costa said it in our chat, like, this is a team that's 2 months behind everyone else. Like, the preseason was shot. It was shit. Europe was a shit show because we're playing one team 1 week, another team the other. And it felt like tonight we put some pieces together. And not just put it together. I think we put the pieces together. And if the team keeps playing like that, I think we're gonna come back and we're gonna win the title this season. That was my takeaway. I know the gap's 10 points, but straight away that was my feeling. Like, I left feeling like we can still do this. You know, the team has proved to me like we can still do this.
Costa, how you feel, buddy?
It's hard not to feel violated, man. Honestly, I think after the heart palpitations have gone down a little bit because it was very hard after the end of the game. I think there are two sides of the coin. On the one hand, I think I feel confident for the first time that we can turn it around based on what I saw today. And on the other hand, just utterly violated. So yeah, two sides to the coin and lots to get into today. Besides the match itself, things that have happened afterwards. Sorry, guys. I know we said we'd start at 11:05, but we were listening also to what Chairman Marinakis had to say, and we'll get into all of that as well. And thank you for staying up wherever you guys are tuning in from. Lots to get into tonight. First take from me.
Well, we're going to jump into all of that, guys. But before we do, as always, we got some quick housekeeping items. Before we jump into our sponsors, guys, don't forget, those of you that are watching, we have a lot tuning in already, a lot of people that were in the waiting room. If you haven't done so already, quickly hit that like button, subscribe if you don't already. Anytime that you guys engage with the show, whether it's following, subscribing, or liking the shows that happen, it helps us spread. The algorithm picks it up and spreads it to more red and white fans. New red and white fans literally join this community every day. So help be a part of that. Help us continue to gather all of the red and white fans in the world so that we can make this community even bigger. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell if you want to be notified anytime that we go live. First sponsor of the night, of course, we have Piraeus International. For those of you shipping in and out of Greece, in and out of the United States, to anywhere in the world, from anywhere in the world, give our friends a call, Piraeus International. Check out their website, www.piraeusintl.com, or you can give them a call at 410-675-4696. They are a U.S.-based entity. And last but not least, as always, before all of the games, we give you guys some of the bets, some of the money lines that are out. Use the promo code GATE7INTL. That is in all caps, by the way. I did have someone DM me with some issues with that. So use that promo code. We always drop links to the direct landing page for you anytime we make these social media posts, and you can make some money. As always, we discuss the stats. We try to help you guys and inform you so that you can make the best bets possible. Gate7INTL is the promo code at betus.com. All right, boys, let's get into this without further ado. Olympiakos won. Panathinaikos, I love it, won. A lot to unpack here, but let's get started. Actually, I want to start with something very, very briefly. I don't want to spend too much time on it. There was a statement by Marcelo right before the game about why he wasn't selected that the player made on his socials. We're not spending too much time on this, so really quickly, did that annoy you guys?
Very much so.
Yeah, it annoyed me too. I want to say like some people were going back and forth with me because I sat there and I read the statement like 3 or 4 times, and I read what other people were saying. So I want to bring up both sides because some people kind of were like, oh, it makes sense. He's saying he's not included and he wants to play or some shit. But it's, I asked a guy on Twitter was like, oh, do you not understand what this means? Like, and I really didn't. I read it a few times and I was just like, what is the point of saying this? Like, to put it in perspective, the statement came about an hour before the game, and he was basically like, I'm healthy. I should be playing, blah, blah, blah. I'm not injured. Today I was working out too. Today should have been an off day for me, but I was training. I want to be there. I'm not the one who makes selections. Like, fair enough, dude. Like, thanks for letting us know you're fit and like whatever, but this is bigger than you. Like, we have one of the biggest games of the season an hour before, like, or an hour before the biggest game of the season. Like, well, why are you saying these things? Like, some of the players may have their phone out before that. Like, it's an hour and a half, hour before the game. Like, a player could see that and be like, oh, Marcelo's kind of like putting a dig in. Like, why is he not playing and whatever? It's just so uncalled for. I don't know. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So I guess some people saw it as like Marcelo wanted to say that he wants to be there, but the coach didn't include him. Marcelo wants to play. But I saw it more as like taking a slight at the coach and the team before a big game. I don't know. Maybe I misread it. I know some people read it that way.
That's how I saw it. And it probably wouldn't have annoyed me as much if he had come into the team and he was like fit and ready to play. Then maybe I would give him some leeway. But dude, you came in 10 kilos overweight. You were not ready to play. We brought you in. You weren't ready. So I love the guy. I'm a huge Real Madrid fan. I loved him loved watching him play all of those years he was at Real Madrid. But I'm sorry, given the season that we've had at Olympiakos, given what's been going on, how important this game is, it is the derby. This is the derby, one of the best derbies in the world. In my opinion, the best derby in the world. You don't make it about yourself. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. Left a really bad taste in my mouth. And if he should have kept his mouth shut because he came in as a fat ass coming into this club. So that's unacceptable to me. Costa, do you have a quick thought on that?
No, I think you guys covered it pretty much. I think the only thing I will add, first thing, Mitchell, when it comes to disciplinary issues, we've seen it in the past. Doesn't really take a lot of shit. We saw with Afalai and with Juan Pablo Pino, for those of you that remember him, those guys got into disciplinary trouble over behavior in training. I think this is somewhat similar. It's a disciplinary issue. He's put out stories in the morning of him in the gym saying, oh, look, I'm working. Between the lines, even though I'm not in the squad, I'm at the gym, I'm working, I'm trying to get fit. And then he puts out that message. And it's like, some people, they came back at me on Twitter as well and were saying similar things to Labro. Oh, he's just trying to say that he's fit and he is working. So didn't he just do that already?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, Marcelo's got to look in the mirror and ask himself the question, in reality, is he ready to play left back for Olympiakos? Is he ready to come off the bench and be a reliable option for us at left back? The answer is no. And we've been trying to hide him as well. In Europe, he's been used in midfield, and it's like we play with a man less. So Marcelo should look himself in the mirror. If he wants to, I think his last chance is this mini preseason that we're going to have coming up during the World Cup, rather. And if he doesn't come back fit after that, it's hard to get rid of him. But honestly, him and Vasalko, they've contributed zero to this club since they joined. And if either of them are here or not, it really makes no difference for me now and in the future, if either of them are here or not.
Very well said. Very well said, Costa. Well, let's move on back to the post-match. Before we get into some of the more controversial things, let's talk about what you guys saw, how we were set up, how we played. In the first half, Panathinaikos had more of the ball, but we were making the opportunities, which is weird because it's been the opposite for us almost all season, if even in the times that we actually were possessing more. But this time we were effective. In the first half, they were dominating the possession, but anytime we got the ball, we were getting forward with it. We were getting forward quite well. Then as the half wore on, the pendulum switched. We were then dominating possession, smothering them, getting opportunities. And then the second half kind of started off the same way in that respect. Dominating possession, making opportunities, not taking advantage of a lot of opportunities. Guys, if I don't see an XG tomorrow of 2.5, I'm going to think something's wrong. We had so many opportunities, maybe even close to 3. It was absurd. Quick shout. I'll give a quick shout to Brignoli because he had some great saves. I mean, as many people were getting upset with Pep Biel, including myself, with the opportunities that were wasted early on. Same thing with Masouras. But they did get a couple of decent opportunities, despite the ones they missed also. Masouras had a lovely header, a lovely shot outside. Pep Biel had a couple of decent opportunities and shots too. The guy made some great saves. But how did you guys see the game from the setup to how we performed? Costa, you start this time.
Yeah, look, I think the formation and the lineup was pretty much predictable for me. It's the same, I think the same lineup that we came out with last time in the league. The only difference in terms of the setup, Biel was very clearly playing on the left wing and Masouras on the right. Otherwise, it's is what we've seen before, what we come to expect. So I think the setup going into the game was good. The first couple of minutes, 5 minutes of the game, we were playing inside their own half. They didn't have possession, and then it kind of swung back to them. And like you said, every time we got an opportunity to transition from defense into offense, we moved the ball forward really well. And yeah, we had a couple of chances. I think we can fast forward. I mean, 62nd minute of the game, and we had 10 shots and 5 on target. They had 2 shots, 0 on target. That's 62 minutes into the game. And, at halftime, we were kind of going in thinking, for me at least, this is the best performance we've had all season. This is one of the best performances I've seen of an Olympiakos team playing away at Leoforos. Let's not forget, we failed to beat this team 4 times last season. Yeah. So going into halftime, you're thinking, all right, positives to take, but we haven't scored again. And can we go out in the second half and get a goal? Can we go out in the second half and keep the momentum and take the pressure from the end of the first half and keep going in the second? Because we've seen that we've been one of those teams that plays good football for a half, maybe, and then just the second half is lost, or vice versa. So we came out in the second half, we kept going, and unfortunately, in the end, we we played very well for 96 minutes, and then the referee gives a penalty, and the rest is history. 1-1. So yeah, that's my quick summary of the game.
I guess what I would say is the first half reminded me a bit of Freiburg away. Like, we were amazing in that first half. I think we had 1.74 xG. We were up 1-0. I thought the same thing. I thought we were playing really well. I thought the team was playing well. I also thought some of the interlink play between Huang, just that midfield of Huang, Mvia, and James Rodriguez, and also Biel coming inside is such a joy to watch. Bakambu, I also really I'm starting to enjoy him as a player. I'm just starting to. The first thing that I would say is I'm really starting to enjoy watching Olympiakos play football again. It's been almost 2 years of a chore of watching the team play. And then I think to the shot Biel had straight at Brignoli, the tap, the back heel from Bakambu to Biel to put it into him, and him hitting it on the left foot. And you're like, fuck, this is such good football, It was a huge derby. I was nervous here. Like, my hands were shaky, I had my Koboloi like going like usual in a big game, but it was like fantastic. You're seeing players who know where the other's going to be. They're going to make a good pass. And one thing I will say is I really enjoyed Avia tonight as well. Like, that's really, I know he's going to get shattered by some in the post game for the penalty. And I don't want to go to that right away because I hate this whole like penalty referee thing. But it's
get it over with.
You have to talk about it. So anyway, Avia goes. I see different opinions on it. I see both sides as well. That's the thing. Like, I've seen this so many times where someone's coming up behind a defender and they put the arms out, and Avia was ahead of him the whole time. He just put the arms out. I don't think he gave the full like elbow. Like, initially I thought maybe he dropped an elbow into his face and that's what it was. But I think he made more like this. He got him in the chest. And usually, I will say something, I've seen that happen a lot where the penalties or the foul's not given when it's on the chest, when someone puts their arms out their head and it gets you in the chest, it's not usually a foul. I could be wrong, whatever. But when it's a face, it's always a foul. And the thing is, Avia is quite dumb here as well, because let's say Ioannidis is 5 centimeters or 15 centimeters shorter, that nails him in the face, penalty, right? If it was, I don't know, Palacios, who I think is quite short, it's an automatic penalty. But I see both sides. I also, looking at some of the angles, I didn't know if he was inside or outside the box. People are saying take off the red glasses. No, I'm saying like I see both ends of it. Like, I would see it given as a penalty, but I also see like that's why it's really difficult for me to say definitively, oh, it's not, it's a shit penalty, like it's blah blah blah. I see it from both sides, and I'm struggling because one thing I will say is like it's the 97th minute and the ball is basically going out. Like, do you give a penalty there? I don't know. Anyway, my rant's over. Like, I see it both ways, guys.
For me, there's 3 issues. There's 3 issues, and it's doesn't just have to do with the penalty. First and foremost, the game should have been whistled dead. That's first.
Okay.
The game should have been whistled dead.
And 6 minutes? Where did 6 minutes come from? It was like I thought it was 3 or 4 minutes max. There was no injury. There was not a single injury. Nothing. There was no time wasting as well, because we didn't get the lead until the 85th minute. There was no time wasting. There was 6-7 minutes. Like, it makes no sense. But anyway.
Aside from, I'm not even remarking on the nonsense of how much extra time. The first thing is it should have been whistled dead. First, second, I'm telling you why he gave the penalty, and this is an issue I have with VAR. Every time we looked and saw him looking at VAR, they are not looking at the foul in real speed. He is only looking at it slow. Everything looks worse when you slow it down. So what he sees is Avila turn his head, look at the defender, and then put the arm up. That signals intent. And intent, as you guys know, with the new rules now, when they discuss how penalties are done or handballs, every intent surrounds so many things. There's multiple pieces of this. So they saw that there was intent. They saw that there was intent to do something at least. And that was probably the impetus for that. He shouldn't have lifted the elbow. I know plenty of refs that are going to make that call. So I'm not going to dispute the fact that that was a penalty. I think more Avila needs to, you have to play until the whistle's blown. You're a professional. You need to do that. But the whistle should have been blown. He never looked at it in real time. So, and actually this third point by Yorgos Halkias here, the ball is in Olympiakos' control. That matters in a way, but because he was preventing, it's being looked at, he's preventing the guy from getting to the ball. That's going to be what they say. He actually prevented him from getting the ball by hitting him. Yeah, the guy was embellishing, but still, that's what the claim is. But the primary thing and what the guy saw is that he turned and looked at him first. That signals intent, and that's why it happened. So, that was one. I think, did I get everything? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So those are my issues with the call. One, the game should have been over, period. Done. It was a penalty. Unfortunately, Avila should have been playing to the 90 and should have been playing, with more concentration, shouldn't have done that. And then at the same time, the ref should have seen that in real time, because I've seen refs give it, but I've also seen refs not give it. To me, it was a very soft call, but that's how I see it. Those 3 issues.
If anyone can explain to me the 6 minutes, because some people are saying, "Oh, take your red glasses off." Explain to me the 6 minutes, and then I'll put blue glasses on. What's your point?
Was there an injury in the second half? I don't think there was an injury in the whole second half.
There was no stop. I can't understand really where the 6 minutes comes from. But look, I think the big mistake, I think Avila's basically fallen into a trap. That's what it is. He's looked, and as Ari said, when you see it on camera, he looks and he does this, and it looks bad. And the thing is, when the ref gives a free kick, and then he changes his mind before he goes to VAR, then he says, "Oh, hang on, let me check it," and he goes, and then the two pieces of footage that they show him, they're one's from behind, and then the other one's far away. So how
he looked for less than 5 seconds too. I counted on my hand, 1, 2. He looked and then boom, ran back.
How closely has he scrutinized that decision? So he doesn't care. So, I came here to Greece for a couple of days. I'm going to get paid by EPO, by the fascists that control EPO, and then I'm going to, have a free summer vacation that they probably offered him, or God knows what, and I'm going to go back to Denmark and nobody's going to hunt me down. It's ridiculous. And then, obviously everyone's talking about this after the game, and you see other replays, and Ioannidis' foot is outside the box. So it's not even a penalty. So
didn't the FIFA rules change it? It's now you have to judge where the foul occurs. So his foot can be out of the box, but if the foul happens inside, on the line or inside, I think that was a rule change this summer.
I also have a question. They didn't show him that the elbow. I think the foul was given because when you see the elbow thing, it's usually because someone gets hit in the head, right?
Right.
When people box out, it's they get nailed in the head and that's a foul. And Ioannidis goes down he's holding his face he got nailed in the face. Yeah. They didn't show him the angle of he got hit nowhere near the face. So I'm wondering would he have given the foul if they showed him from the other angle where it just touched him on the chest? That's one thing also that's people aren't really talking about. So I don't know if originally he was
the referee didn't see that angle.
Referee didn't get given that angle as well. So I was the one that's going on Twitter of him giving the box out where it literally just hits him at the center of the chest. So I thought originally he gave the foul because he thought it hit him in the face because he was down there holding his face and whatever. I don't know. Those are the main. I think the referees, Adi, you would know better. They write up after the game this. I don't know if he's going to write up foul because he elbowed him in the face, because that's what I thought the decision was for. But
if that was for, then he went to VAR. He would have seen it wasn't in the face.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's because.
But they didn't show him the angle that it hit him on the face. They just showed him that thing from 400 meters away. It was really weird.
What happened when he first called it? What happened was when he first called the foul, he placed it outside. The VAR room probably said, no, that looks inside, which is why he then went. But then he said, wait, he probably said, wait. He goes back, and the only reason he looked was for placement of the foul. He wasn't looking to reaffirm if it was a foul or not. That was already in his head. He was just looking to see where's the place of the foul. Because remember, if again, this is part of the rule change. If it's on the line, it's in the box. So if the foul occurs right on the penalty box line, it's a penalty. So at that point, if he's whistling a foul and it's in the box, it's a penalty. A foul in the box is a penalty. So he already had called the foul. That was a done deal. He had made that decision already. So he was just looking to double check his placement. So again, look, it is what it is. It happened. It's a draw, but I know why he called it, because Avila looks, there's intent, and then he does it. Theatrical foul or not, the foul was given, and that's it. He called the foul, and that's something. Again, I've seen refs call it. I've seen some not call it. I think it's soft, but it is. It's a penalty. Avila, I put more the decision to do that on Avila. Lack of concentration. He did something really stupid. We caught the penalty. My bigger issue isn't the fact that he called that penalty. My bigger issue is that the game should have been done. It should have been called dead at that point. That was my problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've dwelled on this for enough, and we can go round and round in circles and talk about the penalty. But let's try and talk about.
I hate it so much. I hate talking about the penalty. I just hate that all so much. But it seems like it's always we get into these days, like sometimes. And also, there was at one point in the first half where we had fucking 11 fouls called on us, and they had 0. Okay, anyway.
Calm down with the F-bombs.
No F-bombs. I don't want to get banned. But 11 foul. The James foul in the first half was so absurd. He just won the ball. We were on the counter, and he called it a foul. And it was.
Do you know what? Like at the beginning of the game, I looked at the stats, and it was like 10 fouls called on Olympiakos and 0 on PANATHINAIKOS after 30 minutes. And my first reaction to it was, I like that we're getting stuck in, but like you remember during the game, we were texting each other, and I thought, this bloody ref, what's he doing? Like, he's calling some ridiculous fouls, but like genuinely, you could see like the players were up for it, and we hadn't seen like this type of performance all season. Like literally, the team playing 90 minutes football, passion, interlink, like the play. They look like a team. They start to look like a team. Finally, and everyone else has a 2-month head start because we screwed up massively this summer. So I go back to what I said at the beginning. Like my positive takeaway from this game is that while we're super frustrated and we feel violated by what happened, we need to take that and turn it into a positive. And some of the feedback, we've chatted to a few of the players after the game today. You can feel it. You can feel it from them that they feel robbed, but they know that we have what it takes, and they believe. And now the fan base starts to believe. And they made a big mistake tonight, because even Olympiakos fans that were kind of, in a shitty mood about the team and, pissed off really pissed off with the organogram and what's going on behind the scenes, even those Olympiakos fans tonight, like there aren't A Olympiakos fans, B and C. We're all together again after what happened tonight. And that's the biggest mistake they made tonight with what's transpired on the pitch. And that's what I think is a massive strength for us after this game. I think we take this, we go and we beat Olympiakos. We finally fill out the AEK game. Karaiskaki sold out against AEK. We win. We end with 2 victories, and we go into mini preseason. We get Oleg Rabchuk out of the team. I don't know what happens during preseason, but Leidner will get his chance as well in the friendlies. Side note. What was this pass that Oleg made that set up Spora? The first thing that you get taught as an amateur footballer when you're a defender, what is it, Ari? What's the first thing a coach tells you if you're a defender?
And you're in trouble, you clear.
Yeah. Clear it, but the thing they tell you, never do this as a defender. Play the ball across your own goal.
Ever.
Oh my God, that was that was literally, if that goal had gone in that Oleg gave up, I don't think he would there would have been trouble. Like
Guys, he was.
What a block! What a block, by the way.
But there were also people saying that until that Oleg had a good game. No, he wasn't. He was yanking jerseys. He was yanking on the jerseys of any guy that was. He was getting beaten. That's why he's pulling jerseys, because he was getting beaten. I'm sorry. Oleg did not have a good game. He didn't get burned a lot, but he was struggling. Just because he's not getting beaten one-on-one day in and day out, that doesn't mean that he's having a bad game. The guy was struggling. He was struggling all game with the players around him. It was bad. Guys, all I have to say is we have to be thankful that Palacios pulled up. Be thankful that Palacios pulled up, because Oleg was having trouble. He was having a lot of trouble. And we have to thank Socrates for bailing him out. Also, guys, so aside from Socrates, Ndoye, this kid, he is winning me over every game. I love this kid. Oh my gosh. The Greek national team needs to do whatever they can to pick this kid up and make sure he plays for Greece. I'm telling you, this kid is, what a great surprise, man. If you had asked me which academy product would be the one that would be the mainstay or that would get into Olympiakos this season, I would never have guessed him from the beginning. But man, this kid is, he's won me over.
Yeah. No, I would say like the strength. Verbic went into a duel with him and went flying and then went crying for a penalty. And it was like, you want to go shoulder to shoulder with a 19-year-old and go flying into the stands, mate. Like, embarrassing. But the best thing about Ndoye is he's both footed. Have you guys noticed that? His left foot is like,
he's comfortable. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Like sometimes the ball goes to like Cissé's right foot and you're like, oh shit. Like Ndoye left, right, doesn't matter. You know, it's like Hassan's head. It's just solid, you know, it always works.
The composure that kid has for 18, 19-year-old, however old he is. And while, you know, I'm of the opinion that 18 to 19, you should be playing. Yeah, Sapudzis, like at 20, making his debut, finished. Sorry, before it started. It might prove me wrong, but at 18, 19, you have to be playing. I'm very happy for Ndoye. I had the same thought as you, Ari, honestly. National team needs to call him up quick. Will they? Because we know who runs the national team. Betarada's got the interview as well, and Tsartas, whether you like him or not, he said things about what's happening in the national team.
Gus Poyet was at the game tonight. They interviewed him on Cosmo before the game as well. So he saw a freaking masterclass from Ndoye.
Because if we don't, Albania is going to pick him up.
Albania will take him.
They'll take him so fast. They'll take him.
100%.
It's not like Germany. It's not like you're competing with Stediu, who's got like Switzerland or like they'll struggle to give him a cap very fast. Or Vlachodimos, for example, was like amazing, but like Germany has Manuel Neuer and Ter Stegen. Like, are they going to give him a cap? No. But like, need to play him.
One other thing about that, remember how we talked about last year how in some of the derbies, like we didn't see some of that passion in the derbies, like some of the players, it didn't seem to mean as much to them. That's why you have to take a punt on one of these guys, because this meant something to Ndoye. Like, he was all over the place. Verbic couldn't get out of his pocket. I mean, you love to see that. And this is why you have to have somebody, a product that's homegrown. Like, forget that somebody got upset with me talking about Greek ethnicity wise. When we say Greek, I'm talking about the academy, the products that are that we grow, homegrown. So it doesn't matter. This is why we have to have players that are growing up in the system, that understand the culture, that understand this, because it means something to him, and he's going to fight for it. And you need to have that fight. So that's why I bring that up, and I'm just so happy to see that.
This too, like when he stepped up to play Spora offside, that's like the move of an experienced defender. Like,
crazy game IQ, man. He has. We have a hidden gem here, for sure.
Okay, guys, we're past 37 minutes. If you're joining for the first time, we're Gate 7 International, your number one English source for all things Olympiakos. I'm Costa, joining from Brussels, Belgium. Ari, Baltimore, US, and Labra. Are you in Hawaii? Where the hell are you now? I've lost track of you.
I'm in the Pacific Northwest, in the Seattle area.
There you go, guys. Drop us a line in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. More than a couple of hundreds of people that have been in here already. Don't forget to leave a like button. It really does help with the algorithm to get out to more Olympiakos fans around the world. Help us to grow the community. Subscribe if you're joining for the first time as well, and don't miss your next Olympiakos update. We've got lots more to talk about. We haven't talked about Marinaikis' statement after the game. We want to ask you guys: Has today changed the title race? And we have a poll going on YouTube. Question: Can Olympiakos win the league this season? So far, 70% of you have said yes. 30% no at the moment. So let us know what you think, guys. We're going to put a man of the match poll up pretty soon as well before we do man of the match and coaches' grades. Guys, do we want to say anything else about the game today? Anyone we want to highlight in particular before we do man of the match, or should we go straight to?
I want to talk a little bit more about the game. I want to say Pep Biel was really fantastic as well tonight. The first 25 minutes were,
yeah.
But like, there's a reason that this guy has the chances, you know, like, it's a bit El Arabi-esque. Like last season, people were talking about El Arabi misses so many chances, but it's like, there's a reason certain players get the final shot or the final assist, like their positioning, movement. When at some point Pep Biel was running one-on-one with someone down the left or like running up to them, and you're like, Pep Biel can do something here. You watch Masouras do that and you're like, ah, shit, the attack's over. Or like Oleg, for example, and you're like, okay, goal kick, other team. But like Pep goes and you have this feeling, because he still has legs, he can run. And when he's running out at someone, you feel like something could happen. See, some people say like they disagree. I think Biel is building confidence. This is not his natural position. I think he's building chemistry with players. I really like the player. I know it's easy to say we bought him for 6 million euros, but I really do enjoy the player. And Bakambu, I do like, but I still don't think he's fit, guys. Like sometimes on the press, he's so slow on the press, but then there's sprints for a ball in the attacking third where he can win it or he's got the ball. And you're like, Jesus, he has some wheels, but you don't see that all the time. It takes him a while to get going. And sometimes he's just like, I don't want to run for this, or I don't want to press. So I want to see him get going into the second preseason, and see whether he can get even more fit. Those legs, he can run even more than he has been so far.
Some of his interplay with Biel was good today.
Really good.
Like some flicks into the box. Those two were linking up really well down the left-hand side. That was nice to see. And I agree with you. I think he hasn't fully gelled into the team. Probably not super fit yet, but it was better than some of his other performances. Like some of the link-up play, like the hold up, and I think it was Biel that he teed up again, like when he received the ball in the box and he laid it off to him, and Biel had that shot that was blocked. And then there was another incident down the left where Biel played it into Bakambu and then he flicked it back into Biel, and I think Biel had another shot blocked. I worry about some of you guys, like they're like, oh, Biel wasn't good today until the goal. So I don't know what sport you guys are watching sometimes. Sorry if I'm being a dickhead, but I saw a player, or I see a player that's played everywhere since he's joined. He hasn't played consistently one position. He's played behind the striker. He's played on the right. He's played on the left. He's played in the 4-4-2 formation. He was dropped. He wasn't even on the bench against Bauk. And I see a player that runs all the time. He doesn't hide. He goes and he looks for the ball. He presses as much as he can. What do you want? Like, what do you guys want from this guy? Like, yeah, he could have scored another couple of goals today but he's getting into the positions. He scored a goal, and for me, it can only get better. I'm not saying like, oh, it was amazing, but okay, let's chill out a little bit.
I'm gonna kind of echo similar sentiment. Like, I didn't think he was horrible. I thought he was better. For me, when we played against, oh my God, was it Freiburg away? I think it was Freiburg away.
It was.
When I thought he was one
You
of
thought
the
it was the worst on the pitch?
when I thought he was the worst on the pitch. But today I didn't think the same thing. You know what I mean? Even though he was struggling in the beginning, I thought the same thing. That first shot that he had, I thought, he had a bad first touch and it should have been a little closer, maybe a quicker shot. We could have had something there. But no, I mean, I thought he was linking up pretty well today. All things considered. Yeah, he got I want to see him get on the ball more, but I'm not going to be pissy about 50 touches. That's better than what we were seeing in the past. I want to see this guy on the ball more and more. He's got so much talent. So I thought today at least was an improvement. We also got a donation. Thank you, Ira Core. Imagine the reaction of the rival team's fans if a penalty like this was given to Olympiakos on the last second of a derby game. Utter hypocrites. Yeah, man, we talked about the penalty earlier. We're with you there. Thank you so much for the donation, man. All of it helps. We have a lot of guys, as we've mentioned before. We're working up towards merch. We're working up towards better systems, more things that we can do for you guys, better content to create for you guys. All of these donations continue to go to things like that. So we do have some fun stuff coming, targeting for the probably just after the holidays. But we're working on all of that for you. So thank you so much. And don't forget, a lot of new people coming in and tuning in. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It's costs you nothing. Just hit the like button and subscribe. The only thing, maybe hit the bell if you want to be notified anytime that we go live. So do that real quick while we're reminding you. It takes about 10 seconds and help us continue to grow the red-white community.
Yeah. Also, I want to make a few shout outs of players before we move on as well. Inbom Huang moments looked like levels ahead of like a prime Guilherme. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of those things where it's just like quick footwork, in, out, left foot, right foot, pass, interplay. And it was, this guy is like the Guilherme replacement. You know how long we were talking about, like, who's the Guilherme replacement? Like, Inbom Huang is...
Who's Guilherme?
Exactly. Fucking fantastic, man. It's a joy to watch him football. And the interlink with James Rodriguez too in moments. Just, oh my God. Like we're watching football again. Like, oh my, it's just incredible. I have no words for it. I almost forgot what it was like to watch stuff like that. It was incredible. I don't know. It's
the way they moved the ball around between Envila, James, and Bonpoint. I mean,
it's
we
incredible.
Actually had moments where it was like, I remember I texted, I think it was like right before the first Pep BL shot. I was like, look at this interplay in the final third. What
and I would say this too. Michel told us, but like he looks so fit, guys. Like I wanted to hold off on saying this. He looks so fit and strong. Like he looks better than when
we've ever seen. I've never seen him look like
I've never seen him look this good. Like he looks better than when he came back from the first injury, like much stronger, much direct. Like his body too. Do you guys notice that? Like the body, even his posture is so much better. I just can't wait until we can see more because in the 20 minutes he's played, it's been really good too. I'm really excited to see what he can do as well. And he gets this new preseason as well. Because didn't he get cut from the Martins preseason? Yes, he did. Yeah. So like he also is like out there. So I don't know. People like in our group chat, Marcelo was like very negative and blah, blah, blah. But I am so positive coming out of this game, even for like that. It felt like shit, like felt like a loss at the end there. But like Olympiakos is making a team again where we're not getting like a lucky result or we're not bouncing back, but it's like we're playing good football, team spirits there. Like there's unity. The players are united. And also finally, Costa mentioned it real quick, but the fans are so back. They're going to sell out against AEK like for the first time. Like this is the fan, like the fans are so back. You can see it. Like they're so united right now, the Olympiakos fans, because they can see a team is being made. I think Dionisi said it like the fans of Olympiakos, like on his live just an hour ago, it's like they're not stupid. And that's really true. Some of the propagandists think they are, and they tried to push it. But like Olympiakos fans see that there is a team being built here and they're starting to play football. Like, you know, there's something coming here. And I'm excited to see what's next. Even if this result didn't go our way, I'm confident we're going to turn things around. That's just my opinion. But yeah.
Panathinaikos is dropping points. Now with Palacios hurt, God knows how long he's going to be out for. Their lead has not been sustainable. It's not. It's not sustainable. They're going to drop points. I would be really surprised if they didn't.
It's coming, and also Ike dropped points as well today in Tripoli. It was like, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a historic storm in Greece, like really bad rain. Hope everyone stays safe, like no flooding and your houses are okay and whatnot. But yeah, the championship's there to be had. 10 points, like I don't really care 10 points. Like I really think it's all about how you play football, the togetherness of the team, togetherness of the fans, and I think we're starting to get that. And yeah.
So are all three of us saying yes to this question? Has the title race changed? Do we believe that we can still win it? We were saying before the game, or our friends Kostas Lianos was saying that this is do or die. If we don't win, it's over. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we can still win the league?
Well, so for me, it's not so much the result itself, but it's the manner with which we got the result. If this was an ugly 1-1 draw, I'd been like, forget about it. But we saw a team that played like it was a derby that they had to win and should have gotten a result, didn't get the result they deserved. And on top of that, now they're going into the rest of the games with a huge chip on their shoulder. Because when you have a team that is motivated, plays well, knows they're the best team, but then also thinks that there's somebody against them, that there's somebody outside of this that's trying to keep you from doing something, that motivates you even more. So it's more because of that context that I have a belief that it changed. Because if it was just another ugly derby, I wouldn't feel like this. But all of that added together makes me think that, okay, no, this is something. This is something that the other teams now need to be afraid of, because not only do you have the most talented roster without a doubt in the Greek Super League, those guys also now have something that they want to fight for, and they're pissed.
Adi, that's the thing. Like anyone, like I think if I watched the game with one of my buddies who don't watch Greek football, they would say like the 10-point gap, clearly Olympiakos is ahead by 10 points watching the game tonight. Like anyone watching the game tonight would be like, oh, this Olympiakos team is much better than Panathinaikos. They must be up 10 points. They're not dominating them. Well, on shots on target, they were dominating.
They did nothing, man.
They did nothing.
Just say it. They did nothing all game. They had 0 shots on target.
Does
0.
anyone think they're better than us? They're nowhere near it. Like even when they do that stupid graphic where they show all the players, the starting 11s with them on the pitch, they showed theirs and you're like, okay. And then they showed ours and you're like, we are so much better at them at almost every position. It's just putting it together. And it feels like we're slowly starting to do that. And maybe I'm going to be an idiot at this end of the season, but I think this is the most important question. If Olympiakos stays in the championship, I think they're going to win the league. That's my opinion. And I'm always the negative one. So I'm saying it right now. We're going to win the league at the end of the season. I'm very confident in it after watching tonight. And I think the Olympiakos players can feel that confidence. And I think the Panathinaikos players can as well. That's my opinion.
You could feel it from the television. You could feel the Panathinaikos fans that they knew that they were outclassed and outplayed today. You could hear it in just, the pressure that we built in the second half, and we were outside their box and they were clearing the ball and we were picking it up and going at them again. And you could hear the moaning and the groaning in Leoforos and just the atmosphere getting quiet and waiting for the inevitable, which happened, and we scored and we went 1-0 up. You know what? I'm gonna go out there and say I think not getting the win tonight might be a blessing in disguise, because I think we're the kind of team that if we'd have won today, we could have gone not necessarily to Olympiakos and drop points, but we'd drop points in the next 2 games. And now the next 2 games are absolutely critical. You go to Olympiakos, do the business, get the 3 points, go back and play Karaiskaki derby game against AEK and win that. I have a feeling that if we'd have won today, playing devil's advocate a little bit here, there would have been this sense of euphoria and Olympiakos is back, and we're going to walk everything, and that mentality then creeps into the dressing room and the team and the players, and then they go out and they're overconfident. Now they're hurt. Like those players in the dressing room, they're hurt, they're frustrated, and they're going to take that. They're going to take that into all the remaining games this season, because they experienced what happened today, and they will not forget what happened on the pitch today with the refs, and they will remember that every single game that they play for the rest of the season, and that gives me a great deal of hope moving forward. But we need to get results.
Yeah.
Playing football's great, but we need to string some results. It's something we haven't done all season. We need to start doing.
We need to win the big game with AEK. Like the game against AEK, I don't want to look past Olympiakos, but like the stadium needs to be so full. We need to win that game. We need to make it all worth it going into this break. We need to win that game. Yeah, that's really my takeaway. We need to win these last two games, and we need to build confidence going in this break. And also we need to win a derby. Like we haven't won a big game all season. Let's say that as well. Let's be honest. We've not won a big game in Europe. We've not won a big game in the league. We need to win a derby and get that off our back against AEK and go into the World Cup and build, on what we've done so far.
Just want to read this comment from Bill Papas joining us, I think from Facebook. We've won championships by Christmas in the past and slacked off in the second half of the season. Olympiakos just doing it the other way around. This year, yeah, you could say that. And I think on the last episode, I said that after this season, there won't be playoffs. Because playoffs is when we turn it around. If not before.
I think that's a good take, because I think that's a good take. Let's just leave it at that. I think that's... Yeah.
No more playoffs.
If Olympiakos wins the title, but if Olympiakos wins the title this season, there won't be playoffs next season. I'm sure of it. Because if there are no playoffs this season, Panathinaikos probably walks the title.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Regular season's over.
Yeah. So that's my opinion.
Now they have to play more games. They wanted to play more games. Fine.
Yeah.
This is the first season that playoffs will actually matter for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like what you want the playoffs to be for, when it's interesting. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
let's see. There's more drama to come. There's so much more drama to come. Yeah. You're really going to leave the league when there's more of this? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
All right.
Do we want to talk about... Yeah, there we go. Of course.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. What did he say? Who's going to translate this for us?
I don't know. I don't have it up, but I can look. Anyway, I'll start off by saying, so Olympiakos was not happy with the penalty call. We've already discussed this. Coming out of the game, Yannis Veredzos, who's like a right-hand man of the chairman, Marinakis, came out and said that like basically Greek football is being run by a fascist dictator. Along those lines, I think he said. I don't have the statement. And that there's considerations that Olympiakos will leave the Greek championship. Like
it was his personal opinion.
It was his personal opinion. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so he went on TV, and people were like, "Well, that's a bit freaking strange. Like to say we're going to leave the championship. Like everyone's pissed off, but like okay." And then the chairman came out. I don't know if anyone has a statement up. We listened to it, and he essentially reasserted that. He was like. He talked about Baltakos, who of course is the former New Democracy politician who had ties with Golden Dawn, who's running Greek football. He's the president of the Greek Football Federation. Quite political. He's a pretty well-known Panathinaikos fan. He's had season tickets, I think. He's been seen at the games before becoming the president of the federation. So Olympiakos, of course, had some negative thoughts of when he became the president. Anyway, so he discussed that, and I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling. Costa, you want to?
Yeah, no. I mean, the gist of it is the following: that basically he says, the team got butchered by the referee. That the Greek Federation is bought and paid for. That the referee was bought and paid for. That it's people behind the scenes and organized crime that are running things at the Greek Football Federation, things that he's said before, and getting to the juicier part. He says, from the moment the game ended tonight, the Olympiakos, Bayer, they've received thousands of messages of frustration from fans that want to see this circus stop, the circus that we're all witnessing. How can we do that? He says, by not allowing Olympiakos to be part of this parody. So he didn't say take the club out the league, but he says something along the lines of, by having Olympiakos not being a part of this, of what's going on. Ultimately, he said that there will be a board of directors meeting, and that the board of directors will have a discussion, and they'll take the opinions of the fans into consideration in whatever decision the club makes moving forward on the Olympiakos's participation in the Greek Super League, I guess, or Greek Cup. And maybe I'm already kind of taking things a step further, because the natural kind of question that arises here is, okay, the basketball club did it, can we do it the same way? And the answer to that is no. Because in basketball, Olympiakos has a contract with the EuroLeague. So it's not a question of, Olympiakos needs to win the league or finish second so that you can qualify for Europe and coefficients and so on and so forth. These are contractual obligations. Olympiakos plays in the EuroLeague, has a contract with EuroLeague. So if we were to pull out of Greek competition, I'm saying now off the top of my head, like legally speaking, then that would pull us out of Europe too. I'm not 100% sure about that statement, but
no, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because if you have to compete in your domestic competition to be able to compete with UEFA. So don't forget, Olympiakos doesn't have a deal with the Super League. We also have a contract with UEFA too, because we are governed overall by UEFA. Every regional league is governed in the hierarchy. UEFA is the top dog here. So anything that we do would have repercussions with UEFA. So don't make no mistake.
Yeah, look, I think the only, and this just came to mind now, but I think if the club, could the club turn around and say, like, as a protest, we're not going to compete in the Greek Cup? Like, do we have anything to win from that? Like, I don't know. Like generally, like the Marinakis administration and Olympiakos as a club, it's never been a club that kind of like throws the towel in or gives up and say, oh, we're not going to compete there. It's not a very Olympiakos thing to do. I think there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of political considerations to take into account as well. And we're not a political show, so we're not gonna get into the politics of all this. And all of you guys have your own opinions, and a lot of you guys that watch the show, listen to the show, are in Greece, and there's a lot of things happening in Greece. So you can try and connect the dots if you want, and see and make up your own opinions. But that's not really for us to kind of start talking about what's going on politically in Greece and how this relates to Greek football and Olympiakos' decision on whether or not we are in the league or not. But there are definitely political considerations there, for sure.
Well, there's two facts that I think everybody should consider when thinking about this. And the first fact is think about the money that is involved right now with the Super League. It's not a lot. We all know that. The deal that Olympiakos just did, the 55 million with Cosmote for 3 years, that's the biggest TV rights deal in Greece that's ever occurred. So, I mean, most, the top leagues are going to look at that and they're going to be like, oh my God, that's nothing. 18 million a season, 18.5 million a season, that's nothing. But for Greece, that's big money. So what does Olympiakos have in the bargaining power of this whole thing? You take Olympiakos out of the Greek league, you're taking most of the money, the TV rights, the reason a lot of advertisers come in. Olympiakos is the money is the big money attraction in that respect. On the other hand, you have UEFA, and UEFA probably doesn't give two shits about the Greek league. I'll be honest with you. So those are just two things I want everybody to consider when you're thinking about this whole situation. You do have a team that's a big fish in a small pond, and that's it. It's a small pond. So in the grand scheme of things, who is UEFA going to care? If this were happening in a top 5 league, they would probably have it under a microscope a little bit more.
And UEFA's tired, man. Like UEFA has come to Greece and tried reforming and tried doing things, and
the holistic committee or whatever they call it.
Committee. No one listens. No one cares. Like
But there was the report that came out of that big meeting that they had a couple of years ago with the, was it Big Four or Big Five?
Last year. It was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, nothing happened with that. What was it? Mitsotakis made a big statement in the parliament as well about violence in Greece, and that if these kinds of things happened again, then there'd be a Grexit. You guys see what happened with the Atromitos and the Aris fans?
Yeah, it's so bad.
Aris fans that got attacked by police on the street, and they would. Yeah, I read an article. They were saying that the police were asking them, "Oh, how's Alkis?" It's like the kid that PAOK fans killed in Thessaloniki last year. They had police like on. They recorded them asking them, "Oh, how's Alkis?" It's like,
sick society right now. A bit. It's just. Football is tied to everything, like it's tied to the country, it's tied to politics, it's tied to everything, and it's so difficult sometimes doing things, not making things political. But like, what? At some point, someone needs to say, like, okay, we need to have. The thing with Papadakos is like, and Epo as it was Zagorakis. The moment Zagorakis went in, and everyone said, "Okay, this is a well-respected national icon. Yes, he played for PAOK, whatever." He's an MEP, like for fuck's sake, he's an MEP, and he goes, and 5 months later, he's like, "This is a disaster." Someone should have said, "Okay, it's time we need to revamp this whole organization." If a national hero, Euro 2004 champion, goes in and is like, "I'm out,"
3 months later.
Not just that, a real football guy. A real football guy went into the position and was like, "This is a disaster. I can't fix this. I'm gone."
And then leaves. And then you have statements from Chartas too on Betarades where he's like, Melissanidis helps like basically select the national team, and there was no investigation or anything. And I know like talking about this stuff is so messed up. Like I don't want to talk about this stuff, to be honest with you, but it's like the whole organization just needs to be reformed. And who's going to do it? Because then there's talk like, oh, the Mitsotakis government's connected with Vagelis Marinakis. How will that work? Like if they reform it, maybe it will be for Olympiakos. But the fact of the matter is someone like Papadakos shouldn't be in a position of power in football, in period, like,
yeah.
What does he know about football? Does it matter if he's like a Panathinaikos season ticket holder and goes to most of their games? Kind of, but like also he doesn't know anything about football. He like is a failed politician of like neo-Nazis. He shouldn't be the head of football in the country. But I'm interested to see where this goes, because this is going to go somewhere. This is connected to high-end political scandals, I think, as well in the country right now. So we're just, what are we going to say about this? We're just a football fucking podcast. What are we going to talk about, So it's not our job.
I think we said enough already.
But I don't want to leave the league, though. I don't want to leave the league because I'm finally starting to see Olympiakos play football. And like, I'm the ref or no ref. Like, I want to see us play football. We're starting to play football. I was happy today. I enjoyed today's game. Yes, the ending was bitter, but yeah. You know what I mean?
It was an enjoyable game to
watch.
It was
a good game of football. It was a fantastic representation of the game abroad. Like,
yeah,
there was no violence. There were no riots. There was none of that. Like, I know quite a few reporters from abroad were at the game. French reporters, British reporters. I think even a few American reporters went. Like, they saw something that was for 95, 96 minutes was like a good representation of Greek football passion, excitement.
But then they got the extra bit at the end.
And they got the extra bit at the end.
They got the whole picture. But no, honestly,
the whole picture.
I think for a neutral, it was a good game to watch. And I think back to the last season's equivalent game, the 0-0 draw. Well, I was literally falling asleep like every 3 minutes.
Prime Martins ball in January. You remember that? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, no, this was exciting. I like it. It was one of those games for the first time. I don't want to say the first time this season. We've had a couple of decent games this season, but it was like the whole game, I never wanted to leave my seat. Like I didn't want to get up. I was just watching because it was exciting. And it felt like stuff was going to happen. Things were happening. So I love having that feeling back. So, and you need to have that. And it's, we're over an hour here, guys. So I think it's about time we end on our normal ending segment, which is man of the match and coach's grade. There's a lot of players that you could pick for this. So I think let's see. Ghost, I know you don't like to start, so you can start this time.
Fucker. I'm gonna use my one F-bomb for No, look, I'm gonna go to the poll first and see what people are saying. So we've asked fans to vote your man of the match. We've put Inbom Huang, Pep Biel, Andreas Doi, and other. 57% of you have voted for Inbom Huang. 14% of you voted Pep Biel. 18% Andreas Doi, and 11% other. I assume the 11% is probably James Rodriguez. Yeah, seen some of the comments as well. Look, man, I think in the first half when we were chatting to each other, I said I'd like to see Juan get on the ball more and dominate this game, and I think he did exactly that. There were moments like our best moments in the first half, like he was there, he was all thereabouts, and then in the second half it was just a show. Every time he got on the ball, he just couldn't get it off him, and there were like moments where there were two players around him, and he'd play his way out of trouble and surge forward and just take the whole team with him, and it was a joy to watch. So I think for me, plain and simple, Inbom Huang's my man of the match. Special shout to Andreas Doi too, who we talked about already. I think everyone really gets a good rating for me, except for Masouras and Ole.
Except for Masouras and Ole.
It just feels like sometimes we're playing with 10 men. Or the positions that Masouras got himself into again today, and the one in particular where Biel's played a peach of a ball over the defense, and Masouras takes one step, he takes two steps, he takes three steps, he takes four. It's like, shoot! Mm-hmm.
It was like 6 steps. Too many.
So how many steps do you take to tee yourself up to shoot with your left foot?
6 more.
So frustrating. I don't know if it's a 5.5 rating that Masouras has been getting every week for the last however many match days. But yeah, no, good team performance and just fantastic individual performance from Inbom in particular, James as well. But I'm just getting bored of James being our best player every week. So. No, there have been comments in the chat as well that I want to address. People are asking, what's his contract? Like, what's the situation? He's on a 1+1 year contract. I don't know if I don't know if it's like basketball where the player has an option or whether the team has an option, but it's 1+1 and they both need to negotiate.
It's unclear because like with Marcelo, it's 1+1, but he has to play like a certain number of games for that clause to be activated. But we never got a clear picture of, okay, it's 1+1, but what's the +1? Like, is it just they agree for another one? Does something have to be met? So I don't know. That one's different.
But at this stage, guys, there was a question, or rather a comment that was made earlier. This guy asks what he asks, you give it to him. The way he looks. And I've said it before. Every week, I think he adds kind of 5% to his fitness. It's like, from 55% to 60, 65. Every week he gets a little bit better. He loosens up a little bit more. So for me, if he keeps on like that, you give him whatever he asks. And you go into Champions League qualifiers, hopefully, or European qualifiers next season, and you've got a player like that. It's like, okay, we mean business.
Okay. Yeah.
Coach's grade after.
I think you can do it now if you want.
Now? All right. B-, Mitchell, and I'll tell you why. I think he should have brought a defensive midfielder on the last few minutes of the game.
Samaseko, yeah.
That's the only thing I think I can criticize him for. Otherwise, like the right starting 11, I see why he brought Vrusai on, but Vrusai didn't do much. I thought Josh Bowler was all right when he came on. He won a foul, like up the other end. But yeah, I think he should have brought a defensive midfielder on as well to try and pack the midfield and stop them from attacking. It could have helped. That's the only negative thing I have to say for the coach.
So my man of the match will be Inbom Huang as well. Especially second half was, oh my God, I just love this player. It's my favorite signing of the summer. He continues to play extremely well. Coach's grade for many of the same reasons, but B-. I'm actually going to go a little higher, and I'm going to just say a B. But for the same negative, I think he should have brought on a defensive midfielder as well. And yeah, that's it for me. Costa already brought up pretty much everything else.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Inbom Huang as well, man of the match. And coach's grade, yeah, I would say B or B- for Michel. It's kind of a catch-22, I guess. I was happy that he didn't bring on Retsos. Like I thought he was going to bring on Retsos, and I was like, please don't bring on Retsos, you know. So I was happy with that decision. Vrusai, I saw why he brought on. But I would have brought on Bowler, Samaseko, I agree. But overall, I think he lined up exactly how I would have wanted to line up. 4-2-3-1, played well. Decisions were good. I don't know. I'd give him a B+. Like the rest of the team, I thought he coached a pretty good match today. So that's it.
All right.
There you go.
Well, yeah. You heard it here, guys. All right. Well, let's see the end of the poll. It's pretty, there's a majority there for Inbom Huang, so I think we're all more or less in agreement there. But yeah, guys, no, it's coming up to 12:30 here, Brussels time, 1:30 time in Greece. I don't know what time it is over there, Labro. It's afternoon still.
Yeah, 3:30 in the afternoon.
3:30 in the afternoon, Pacific time, US.
I'll be in Hawaii next week as well, so.
Take some pictures on the beach with your Olympiakos.
It's going to be my first derby in Honolulu since I think I was a kid almost. So it's going to be another 5 a.m. wake-up call or something. So, yeah.
Well, guys, that's all we've got time for. We're Gate 7 International, your number one English source for all things Olympiakos, all things red and white. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget, hit that like button. It really does help, and it takes you less than a second to just hit that like button. It helps us a lot to get out to more fans across the world, help us to keep growing the community. Olympiakos, the counter-attack has started. I think after today, next game against Olympiakos on Wednesday, we'll be back. We'll be back after that game, and then AEK at the Karaiskaki before the World Cup. So another, every game's a final, guys. And the next two games are must win, as we've said already during today's show. So subscribe if you haven't done so, and hit the bell so that you get a notification next time we go live. And look forward to chatting to all of you guys again very soon. Wherever you are, have a good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and see you next time.